All right, guys, we are back. You're listening to Kate Talk Radio, 1640 AM. This is the show, Utah Home Sweet Home. I am your host, Yoshi Shiraki. My special guest is attorney Jeff Brailio.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for joining me. All right, so we are talking about seller financing transactions and the importance of having the right paperwork. But before we do that, I wanted to let you all know that if this is something that you guys are really interested in, Jeff is actually teaching a class on seller financing. Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be sharing on the class, when it is, the time, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
It is in September.
Okay.
It's going to be a sort of a 2-day multimedia event, the whole COVID thing. So
yes.
On Thursday night, September 10th,
okay,
I'm going to do a webinar on background information on the first things we talked about, the contract for deed, the lease options, and the traditional seller financing.
Okay.
How they're different,
yep,
and the pros and cons. So you have to understand sort of the basics of seller financing type deals.
Got it.
Okay?
Okay.
And then on Saturday, September 12th, there'll be an all-day live class, and we will be COVID compliant. It'll be an all-day live class where we will get into all the details of traditional seller financing, notes and deeds and all-inclusives, and understanding mortgages and the financing, the contracts, the terms,
yes,
the disclosures, the risks, the how to avoid the risks. We've got guest speakers. Trevor Thompson, in fact, is going to come guest speak and talk about how to approach sellers with seller financing. Yeah. Jeff Rappaport, who hosts the Creative Financing podcast, is going to be there for lunch.
Oh, nice.
And then possibly another surprise speaker in the afternoon.
Oh, cool.
So it is an intensive all-day, everything you really need to know about seller financing deals.
Awesome.
I'm really excited for it. We've been cooped up for a long time. I'm excited to get back out and teach live and actually see human faces again.
Exactly.
And then you can register now. We are actually already half full.
Oh, great.
Which is super fast.
Yeah.
This far out.
No kidding.
But you can register at reimasteryu.com.
Perfect.
And that's REI, which stands for Real Estate Investing. Mastery, because you will become a master. Then the letter U, kind of like university. Right. This is where you really learn.
Got it.
You just go to reimasteryu.com, and the registration link's right there, and we hope to see it because it'll be a great experience for everybody involved.
Perfect, perfect. And I know you said all day. Did you say the time frame? What's
9 to 5.
9 to 5. Okay.
Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That's great because seller financing isn't something you learn, unfortunately, in an hour show like we're doing right now.
No. I'm only introducing things. I'm not really actually teaching you anything. I wish I could, but you just can't in an hour. I really need the full, it's going to be about 9-10 hours of total class time.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. You know, and it's interesting, Jeff, because with so much uncertainty, we're talking about the low interest rates a minute ago.
Yeah.
I was chatting with a friend of mine, Randall Wall, and you know Randall very well.
And he's a super experienced seller financing investor.
Exactly, super experienced. And you know, with so much uncertainty happening, potential people haven't been able to make their mortgage, landlords not getting rent, so they can't make their mortgage either. There are two thoughts. You know, some people think everything will work out and be okay, and some people think, well, no, how can it be? We've had more unemployment than the Great Depression. We have had more people not being able to pay rent and mortgages in so long. 12 to 24 months, we might see a lot of foreclosures, possibly. And chatting with Randall Wall, he says, you know, all these people who don't want to go through foreclosure, they want to avoid it. Could you seller finance to an investor with low interest rates?
Before that even becomes a problem. You spare their credit, the notice of default, and the foreclosure, and all the problems that could cause a couple years down the road when they do want a new mortgage and they get their job back or their income goes up. Yeah, they don't want to ruin things. And I think seller financing is going to explode in the next 24 months.
I agree. So if you're somebody who, you know, wants to take at least get prepared. You know, I can't remember the quote, but you can't take action if you're not prepared to take the action, right? Or you can't take action on an opportunity if you're not prepared. So you got to get at least prepared, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't want to be behind the game because there are other investors who do know what they're doing, and they're going to pick up the deals more quickly because they're comfortable doing this. They've done it a lot.
Exactly.
So
and even to the people who don't even want to invest, they're renters right now, and they are struggling to try and buy their first home. This could be an opportunity for them to become a homeowner.
Yeah.
You know? So I think this class is for everybody.
Yeah, and real estate agents can do these kinds of deals as well.
Right.
And the more they know, they can actually, they can help buyers get into homes without being able to qualify for conventional financing. They can help their sellers get out of a tough situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I worry that there's going to be a lot of people who don't know what they're doing on these kinds of deals.
Yes.
But let's keep our fingers crossed that they do kind of get educated and experienced, or work with educated, experienced people so that they are done correctly.
Perfect, excellent. And if any of you missed the information that Jeff shared on how to register for the class, feel free to go to utahhomesweethome.com, and you'll see the social media links on the bottom. We have these shows recorded. You could definitely check out the recording, and if you've missed that earlier. So I want to dive in though into the different types of paperwork. What documents are needed for these types of transactions?
Yeah, I think the real key here is just understanding that, like we gave 4 major types, right? And then each of those, for example, lease options.
Yeah.
The paperwork's going to be different if you're the buyer tenant or if you're the landlord on the situation, seller.
Yes.
Okay. We actually create a very different set of documents, and with different terms, and they're actually split. Sometimes we combine the lease and the option into one document. The other time we actually use 2 separate documents. And that's the best way to do it, because it just, we don't have time, but it eliminates problems down the road. And too many people doing lease options don't even understand that.
Yeah.
And then if you're doing a contract for deed, that is a very specific kind of contract. It's not something that's got to be drafted by a lawyer. There's no state forms for that. There's no general things for that. You need to actually a lawyer for that. And then in a joint venture or partnering with the seller, that's going to probably be a joint venture agreement. You can secure rights with different methods, so that's a different document. And then in the traditional seller financing, right, you need a good contract. If there's an underlying mortgage, you need a good seller financing contract, a specific contract that calls out the due on sale clause and all those other issues we talked about earlier. You might need a note and deed. You might need an all-inclusive note and deed. Right. You may need powers of attorney that allow the buyer to talk to the bank. So there's a set of documents specific to each one of these deals depending on the kind of transaction you're doing. So that's the key, is getting the right documents for the kind of deal you're doing.
Got it. Which goes back to like hiring the right attorney as well, right? On top of kind of having an idea of what you'll need. As you mentioned before, if you're an attorney who doesn't practice real estate, you're probably not going to know which contract.
Yeah, they might try to fit you into the one that they know.
Yeah.
As opposed to, wait a minute, I can talk to us and know what are you really doing here? Right.
Exactly.
And let's make this the best deal as opposed to just doing a straightforward cookie cutter kind of model.
Right, exactly.